Okay, so I don't even know why I'm wearing a hat. I guess it's like a comfort thing. It's summertime, but whatever. So I haven't made a video in a couple weeks. I guess I'll talk a little bit about that, but it's not really something I feel like I have to overshare on the internet because nobody really cares at the end of the day. And secondly, it's just kind of, I don't know, embarrassing a little bit, but it shouldn't be. I had to stay in a mental hospital for a week because I just couldn't handle my depression anymore. I haven't really prioritized my depression and anxiety, and I've always just masked it by smoking weed and vaping and all these things you shouldn't do. And I finally got off of all that stuff, and I made the decision to admit myself for a week. And it was a good decision because it helped me realize that, you know, I do want to be alive and I do want to continue and I want to do better things with my life. But yeah, it was definitely just an eye-opener all around, and to get that low was just very scary, and I don't wish that on anybody, really, but if you do need help, please get it, because it's better than sitting festering in that terrible mindset that I was sitting in, and I know I'm not alone, because there's plenty of you out there, and like I said, please get help if you need it. It's very important. My mental health and all of that is just, it's such a big deal, and people don't take it serious enough, so please, if you're struggling, don't be afraid to tell your friends, don't be afraid to tell your family, and call somebody and get some help, because it's important. You all matter very much in your own way. It's just it's hard to admit, I guess, because I'm usually talking about like positive or things I enjoy on this channel, and things just kind of fell apart, I guess, in my life the last few months. I talked about having a kid in one of my videos, and we had a miscarriage. And now that I'm sober, I'm thinking about family members and stuff that I just didn't really think about before, because when people die and you're on marijuana, it just suppresses all of that. So I guess I'm missing all of my family members that passed away in the last few years, my animals, all those. So again, prioritize your mental health, and please don't hide behind drugs. It doesn't help. It really does not help. It will just make things worse, and that's exactly what started happening to me. The drugs will only work as long as they work, and then eventually they'll start to make things worse. So that's that. I'll stop talking about my life and all that stuff. I'll just talk about the haul of movies and stuff that I've gotten over the last little while. Of course, I didn't have any for the last week, but I did come out of the hospital yesterday and go right out to buy some movies, because that's what I was thinking about there towards the end. I spent a lot of time there watching movies. They gave us access till like 11 p.m., and then of course you got to go to your room. It's kind of like jail a little bit, but when you're as low as I was, and as many of these people are, you need that kind of structure in your life. And to be around other people that are struggling, it's nice to have that talk with people. So yes, without further ado, let's just get into it. So I finally got around to getting Mortal Kombat 9. I was looking for this for quite a while. It's in pretty good shape too, so... Sorry, excuse me. Ugh. It'd be nice to get on this game again. I haven't played it in like 10 years since my buddy used to bring it over. I love MKX, I love MK11, so this will be a nice little throwback to when I was 12, 13, 14. Stand By Me is one of my favorite movies ever. I already had it on DVD, but it needed to be upgraded. There was no way around that. I needed that 1080p quality while watching this movie. Doesn't it just make you miss being 12 years old? This was a breath of fresh air watching this after what I've been through the last little while, so I recommend everybody should see that movie at least once. Broken Arrow, not my favorite John Woo movie by any means, but it's a classic in its own right. John Travolta, you can tell he's eating up the scenery, chewing up the scenery, I should say. He's having the best time of his life. This is when Christian Slater still got cast in movies. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he just stopped kissing ass in Hollywood, but they pretty quickly stopped hiring him after a while. The Last Boy Scout. This was always one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies growing up, besides obviously Die Hard and all the typical ones you'd think of Bruce Willis in, but this was always one of those movies I enjoyed. My dad really liked it, so I always grew up watching this, renting this from movie stores. I don't need it necessarily, and it's one of these paper clipper, but it was like $2, and it was like, I kind of want to rewatch this. So I'll get around to rewatching this sooner or later. Magnolia. Still have never seen it. You can see it's sealed. I've never seen it before. It was on sale on Amazon, and it went right back up to $40, so I'm glad I bought it when I did. It's the British one, I'm pretty sure, so I ordered it from England. Whatever, it works on my Blu-ray player. I'm basically just trying to own every Tom Cruise movie that I care about. And speaking of that, Days of Thunder, I bought that as well. I'm not going to grab it, because who cares really that much about Days of Thunder. But yeah, I've been collecting a lot of Tom Cruise movies. Kind of curious to see if I enjoy this or not. I know it's over 3 hours, so we'll see, but we'll see why I wouldn't. Bridge on the River Kwai, still have never seen it, but this was a movie that my grandfather had always religiously talked about when I was younger, and I felt like I had to get around to watching this performance of Alec Guinness's at least once. I remember watching Star Wars, the original Star Wars, when I was quite little, and he kept saying that Alec Guinness gave the best performance he's ever seen, so we'll see, I guess. Born on the 4th of July. Now this is another one of those movies that I always felt like I had to get around to seeing. I finally watched it. I liked the first hour and a bit of this movie, and then it just kind of falls off the rails for me. But it's very scary seeing how they treated these men when they got home from Vietnam. And Tom Cruise, you know, great performance on his end. I think this is one of his better acting performances all around. And he's pretty young in this one. This was like, what, 89? Yeah. So 1989. He was only in his mid to late 20s at that point. The Gray. I don't love this movie, but it was $2 and there was a sale when I was at the store yesterday, and I was just kind of grabbing a few movies that, you know, like I'll probably get around to rewatching this at some point. I remember watching this with my dad when I was younger, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. The ending really angered me, though. This is one of the first movies I remember seeing where there was like a really huge cliffhanger. You know he probably dies, but it's like, why can't you just show us a little bit of what happened? I get it, but kind of wanted a little more. Oops. So I upgraded Superman the movie to 4K. I didn't really have to do this, but Superman 2 was there as well. This is the Richard Donner cut, and they were both like $9, and there was a 20% off sale, so I felt like I kind of had to take advantage of that. They were sealed, brand new, and they come with Blu-rays as well, so, you know, whatever. I still need to get the theatrical release of Superman 2, which is my favorite version of it. I don't really love the Richard Donner cut. It's okay. It takes away about 15 minutes of the movie, 10 minutes of the movie, and recuts certain things. So, I don't know. It's kind of like pick your poison. The original Superman, I just rewatched it yesterday. It's a masterpiece still. And I always grew up loving Superman 2 just a little bit more because it was a little more action-oriented. And when you're a kid, that's kind of all you care about. The Crow, another 4K. I need to get a 4K player. I'm just buying 4Ks for no reason at this point. But this was such a great movie, and I'm so upset that Brandon Lee didn't get to at least enjoy the fact that he was good in this movie. Yeah, kind of, life got cut really short for this poor guy, and it's a damn shame, him and his dad. But I'd say check out The Crow. Check that Crow out. If you're going to watch The Crow, do yourself a favor and don't watch the remake, please. Top Gun Maverick. I did not love this movie, but I bought it because I wanted to rewatch it and see if I was just missing something. But it really just felt like the exact same movie all over again. Even the shots were the same. Like, nothing changed with this movie. They just replaced Goose with, what's-his-face, Rooster. I don't know, I'm not in any rush to rewatch this, but again, I wanted to own most Tom Cruise movies, and I'm almost there. I'm almost at most of the big Tom Cruise movies. So yeah. It's nice that he does a lot of his stunts, though, in that, and basically everything. We all know this, though. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I don't like this movie. I like the second half, I guess, for the action, but the first half, I swear you could completely erase it and you'd miss nothing. You'd miss absolutely nothing. This movie feels really hollow, and Final Reckoning was just as bad for me. I don't know what went wrong with these last two, but it was 6 hours of just nothing for the most part, and it's a damn shame. Picking an AI villain as your final villain for this franchise was so bad. You know, and you've had Owen Davian in the third movie, and you had Solomon Lane, and all these other great villains, and then this is how you finish your franchise? I don't know. I don't know. Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, still my favorite Mission Impossible, and I did own the 5-movie box set. I think it's up there now, and it just started falling apart, so I went out and I bought most of them individually. I already own Fallout, now I have 7, 4, we'll talk about some more. I need to buy Rogue Nation, and that'll be all of them. This is my, like I said, my favorite. When I was at the hospital, I forced a lot of the people there to watch these movies because they were on Netflix, and you need a little mental escape, and these movies are good at that. Specifically this one. I just always loved this movie. This was the first one I saw of this franchise in theaters when I was 10 years old, and it just completely sold me on this franchise. And ever since then, I've been a huge Mission Impossible fan. And the trilogy, so this is the first 3. I like owning them individually. I don't like big box sets for the most part. So Mission Impossible 1, still the best spy thriller of the franchise. This is the most like the television show, and this is a lot more like a James Bond movie where there's some action, yeah, but it's a lot more of a spy espionage thriller, and I enjoy it for that. So if you're looking for that kind of a film, you'll love this first one. The second Mission Impossible, it took some risks. John Woo, you know, he takes risks, that's what he does. I still appreciate this movie, though. It's not great. It's really not. But the second half of this movie is just pure action with that amazing bike chase, so you're not going to hear me complain as much as most people do. And Thandie Newton. My goodness, is she attractive in this movie. Whew. That's all I got to say. And Mission Impossible 3, like I mentioned earlier, Owen Davian, a.k.a. Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of my favorite villain performances of the last 25 years. So good. Just so good. And he's barely in the movie, which makes it that much better when he's on screen, because you're like, holy shit, this guy's a threat. And Tom Cruise is probably his best performance of the franchise. You see him at his most vulnerable because of his wife and that whole dynamic, so I think this is probably his best performance. I don't love J.J. Abrams, but I really like this movie. This is a really, really, really good Mission Impossible outing. And it kind of started what the rest of the franchise continued with, where it was more of a group dynamic, where you've got this group going around together. The first 2 kind of have that, but not really. Luther's in all of them, of course. Except for the 4th one, where he's in a cameo. My one complaint about Ghost Protocol. Need more Luther. So I guess while I'm at it, I'll just talk about a few of these Fast and Furious things I've gotten over the last little while. When I was originally sick, my girlfriend ordered me this, which was very nice of her. I didn't know they made this. Brian's Skyline Lego edition. I'm probably not going to open this, but just the fact that she thought of me enough to buy this for me warms my heart. And it will sit pretty on my shelf, where maybe someday I can sell this and make some money off of something like this. I don't like selling stuff from my collection, but this is something that I would not be opposed to selling if the price went up in 15, 20 years. The Porsche, I'm pretty sure it is a GT3 RS from Fast 5. And you barely see it in the movie, but I needed to own this because it was always one of my favorites from that movie. Even in the short time it's there, they win it off the guy in that race scene, which they don't show because Fast 5 is allergic to showing you any car action. But I do like this very much, and it's a very clean model. Usually these Jada models have something wrong with them, but this one for the most part looks pretty good, so super happy with that one. And last but definitely not least, Brian's Skyline from Too Fast when it comes off the lot. So this is what it looks like in the Prelude, which if you didn't own the DVD, you would have never seen. My friend had no idea. He's probably seen Too Fast 100 times in his life. He had no idea there was a Prelude because they didn't put it on the Blu-ray. So if you don't have the DVD from 2002 or whatever, 3, you're not going to ever know that this was even a thing. And it's in a couple scenes, you know. It's not just like a 1-second thing. He pulls it off the lot. He races with it like this for a few races. So to me, this is like an obscure find that I love. I love that they made something super weird like this for fans like me who have a memory like that where you remember this kind of shit. No one else would care about this. I remember my dad saw this when he walked into my room and he's like, what movie is that even from? So most people don't even notice, but I had to own that, and it was like $40 on Amazon, and I had to jump all over that. So yes, hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't want to make this video too long, but I had to talk. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in upcoming videos whenever those videos come out. So